If you think this has a happy ending, you haven't been paying attention.
Only a few hours until the final season is out, and we can't keep calm. Here's 8 popular Game of Thrones Season 8 theories you need to see before you watch the final season. Also, spoiler warning in case any of it comes true. But if you're a nerd like me, let's begin. The one fight all of us have been waiting for since the first season is the fight between Sandor, the Hound Clegane, and Gregor, the Mountain Clegane. The freaking Clegane War. They have been teasing this since the beginning when we were first introduced to the characters and even very
It's not
recently.
how it ends for you, brother. You know who's coming for you.
Since Dany started riding Drogon, it was pretty much clear that there will be other people who would ride the other dragons, Viserion and Rhaegar. The last we saw Viserion, or the dead Viserion, was with the Night King. That leaves Rhaegar. So it's quite obvious that Jon, who has Targaryen blood in him, will ride Rhaegal, who's named after his father, Rhaegar Targaryen. Let's go back to season 5, when, in a flashback, young Cersei visits the fortune teller, Maggie the Frog, who tells her that she'll marry the king and become a queen and will have 3 children. But she also says that gold will be their crowns and gold will be their shrouds. That is, they'll die, which actually happens. She even says that there will come a much younger and beautiful queen who will cast her down and take everything she holds dear. Further, she goes on to say, "And when your tears have drowned you, the Valonqar shall wrap his hands around your pale throat and choke the life out of you." Valonqar is High Valyrian for little brother. Cersei always thought it was Tyrion and hated him, but she has another little brother, her twin, who was born a few minutes after her, Jaime Lannister. The last we see Jaime and Cersei talk, he is disgusted with her as she promises to help Dany and Jon against the White Walkers, but instead plans on attacking them. Then we see him leave for the north. They definitely have a lot of tension between them, and he will be the one to kill her like he killed the Mad King because now she has become the Mad Queen. We know that one of the biggest battles this season would be the Great Battle of Winterfell, and we also know that the Night King can resurrect the dead. Winterfell has one such place, the Crypts, which has the remains of the Starks. The Night King might just raise the dead Starks from the crypts to fight for him. This is even subtly foreshadowed in the teaser they released for the season. Also, in the trailers, Arya seems to be running from something and she looks terrified. It only makes sense that the girl who has seen death so many times is terrified of the dead, say someone she knows like Rickon or maybe Catelyn Stark. When Dany was in the House of Undying, she meets the undead and has multiple visions. They tell her, 3 fires you must light, 1 for life, 1 for death, 1 to love. 3 mounts you must ride, 1 to bed, 1 to dread, 1 to love. 3 treasons you will know, one's for blood, one's for gold, one's for love. A fire for life was the fire which gave birth to her dragons. A fire for death was probably the fire she uses to kill the Undying. Fire for love might be related to Jon Snow and the Azor Ahai prophecy, which we'll cover later. Mount to Bed is the silver horse she rides to her first night with Drogo. Mount to Dread is most likely Drogon. Mount to Love is still a mystery. Many have said that mounts aren't literally animals but men. 1 to Bed is probably Drogo, 1 to Dread is Lorak, 1 to Love is mostly Jon. Treason for blood is when the witch kills the unborn child. The treason for gold is probably when Jorah spies on her, but he says he is doing it for the hope and not for the gold. Treason for love can again be referred to Jon and the Azor Ahai prophecy. George R. R. Martin has always said that Lord of the Rings was a major influence in his life. In Lord of the Rings, Bilbo Baggins writes his adventures in a book. And with the amount of influence Tolkien had on Martin, a lot of people believe that Game of Thrones is actually a story that Samwell Tarly is writing. Azor Ahai was a legendary warrior who played an important role in the fight against the dead thousands of years ago during the Long Night. He plunged his sword in the chest of the woman he loved, Nissa Nissa, and forged the Lightbringer. A prophecy stated that another Azor Ahai will be reborn amid smoke and salt to fight again during the Long Night against the dead. There are 3 major characters who could be Azor Ahai. She was reborn amid smoke when she went into the pyre of her husband Drogo, and probably the tears signify the salt. Jon. He was reborn after he was brutally murdered by his own brothers. Jamie. This one was by a famous Reddit user and it's too amazing. Maybe Lightbringer was not meant to be a sword but a hand, a fiery hand. We know that Jamie has gone through one of the best arcs in the history of storytelling and thus is reborn. Also, the entire world could have just been lost in translation, as Valerian for Lord is Exio and for light is Onos, and for gold is Exion and for hand is Ondos. This way, he fulfills the Azor Ahai prophecy and the Valonqar prophecy in one stretch. In the House of Undying, Dany has a vision, and in it, she sees her brother Rhaegar and his wife Elia Martell and their son Aegon Targaryen. Rhaegar is convinced that his son Aegon is the prince that was promised, and that there should be one more, as a dragon has 3 heads. But Elia could not conceive after that, and Rhaegar falls in love with Lyanna, and has a 3rd child, a son called Aegon Targaryen, aka Jon Snow. He is the prince that was promised, literally, as Lyanna asks Ned to promise him. He is the Song of Ice and Fire, the son of Ice and Fire. We see what you did there, George R.R. Martin. And before you say it, no, Night King is not Bran, who has come to change the past and alter it. That's a great science fiction story, but George R.R. Martin isn't that kind of a writer. And no, the Night King doesn't want to chill on a beach or eat hot pie. Then why did he wait all these years to attack? Does he want all power? Is he pure evil? No. George R.R. Martin has said that he prefers writing grey characters than black and white. He says that fantasy for too long has focused on stereotypical heroes and villains. But there are still a few reasons he might be back. According to the books, the first Night King was made by the Children of Forest before the peace pact with men. We don't know what happened to him. Then came the Night's King, who was the 13th Lord Commander of the Night's Watch. The Night King in the TV show is probably the Night's King with his 12 brothers of the Night's Watch. He fell in love with a White Walker and declared himself king and her as his queen, and used sorcery on his brothers of the Night's Watch to be with him. And later was found that he was sacrificing babies to the White Walkers. Many believe he was a Bolton, Umber, Flint, Woodfoot, Magnar of Scargos, or Nori, but Old Nan says he was a Stark, brother of Brandon Stark. He and Jormungand, the king beyond the wall, brought him down, and maybe they buried his queen in the most lower parts of crypts of Winterfell, and the Night King is back for her, because magic has returned to Westeros after so many years, and now he can go past beyond the wall because of that. The Night King was converting Craster's baby to White Walkers, and maybe this was a part of the pact between men and the Walkers that they will always live in the land of always winter and will be given sacrifices to keep their race alive. But the sacrifices stopped. They must think that the men broke the pact. Night King is also a Greenseer, which we already saw in the show, and maybe he saw that the religion in the south is painting him bad. Men have warred over years and years, and White Walkers have not, and still they are being painted as the evil. Maybe his journey is all about survival. The White Walker activity became more prominent around Robert's rebellion, and a certain someone was also born at that time, Jon Snow. Maybe Night King and Jon Snow has some connection because of their ancestry. He saw all the events, and maybe Jon, the last hero, will probably become the new Night's King and take them away to the land of forever winter. There goes the bittersweet ending George R.R. Martin promised. If I had to put it in Ramsay Bolton's words, then
If you think this has a happy ending, you haven't been paying attention.
if you like the video, if you think any of the theories made sense, then drop a comment, let's discuss and share it with your fellow crazy Game of Thrones nerds, and subscribe to the channel.